Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is our deck and walk video. I believe we are in Scorpio One. I had to look at that for a couple minutes because Libra keeps distracting me. But this is Scorpio One. So we are entering into Scorpio. Happy birthday, all my Scorpios out there watching. These are the cards of the last decan that just took place. This is the cards for Libra 3. And as usual, I like to spend a little bit of time talking about how this came forward for me. For me, it was very much, it was nice. It was a really, really nice decan. I had moments of it being really, really, really busy, and then moments of it being really, really quiet, which allowed me to, when I was working and I was busy working, but my downtime and my personal time was very wonderful. And I was able to just really relax and really get comfortable. And I noticed that a lot of this deck, and I was kind of concentrated on my well being and just taking care of myself, like kind of wrapping things up or tending to things that I'd kind of put on the back burner, such as, I was overdue for blood work. I hadn't had my any blood work done in a really long time. Different things like that, like just catching up with myself physically as well as mentally and emotionally. I found myself really being able to deeply relax and get into just be really restorative and just spend a lot of time on myself on my down times. So it was really wonderful that way. But then when things were busy, and I had to hustle and do what I do, and bring in clients and customers and do all that stuff. But even so, like when I was teaching during this decan, the different days that I taught, they were very laid back. They were very relaxing. They were very restorative. We were able to have a nice slow pace and just spend time getting into what we were there learning, right? Or what that person was here learning. So it was really quite wonderful. I really liked it. Um I found outside to be so healing. And I know this time of year is, I mean, everybody loves the fall. I mean, I don't think I know a single person who doesn't like the fall. But I found the air to smell so good and the earth to smell good and just it felt so nice to be outside and healing and relaxing and just rejuvenating. Like it was wonderful. So like 100% understand the concept of this card now on a deeper level. Um Kind of already knew, but this was like it was so peaceful and just relaxing. Even though it was busy and there was stuff happening, it was still so peaceful. So definitely definitely enjoyed this deck in. However, this next one coming up, I'm not looking forward to. So what we'll do is we're going to change out the cards. These ones I've already changed, and this one, but these ones I'm going to change out. So we are saying goodbye to Libra season, being a cardinal sign and the element of air. We are saying, oops, sorry. We are saying goodbye. We are saying goodbye to that. And we are bringing in Scorpio energy. It is a fixed sign and it is a water element. So from air to water, these cards too, we're going to change these out and then I'll straighten everything up after. Okay, so we're saying goodbye to these ones and we are unfortunately saying hello to the Tower, the Five of Cups, and Death. Yeah, like I said, I am not looking forward to this chapter whatsoever, this decan, whatever you want to say. I am not looking forward to it. Okay, our Hermetic Tarot cards are the Blasted Tower, Lord of the Host of the Mighty, Five of Cups, which is Lord of Loss and Pleasure, and Death, Child of Great Transformers. All right, so here's our new Decan, everybody. What a shitty way to bring in Scorpio, eh? All right, and we get even better. Here is our planetary influence for this Decan, and that is Mars. The cards over here have not changed. We are still in the Ace of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the Knight of Cups, right? So those are still our extra little energies that we can tap into during this Decan, which is funny because I actually find these energies extremely contradictory to this and what's going on here. But at first glance, I was super doom and gloom, and I was like, oh my God, who's going to die? What's going to happen? How is my world going to implode? But then I kind of read Susan's chapter about this Decan, and there was things about it that I didn't really consider. And obviously, we always go to self, right? We always worry about what's going to happen and how it's going to affect us, me personally, right? But it might not be that. It might be somebody else's loss, right? And us having to watch that or experience that or view that. So we always go to self, right? But it might not be. And there's another part of it too. And I will read it, but there's another aspect to this card that I never even noticed or considered. So let's get in here and let's check it out. Once again, we are reading from The 36 Secrets by T. Susan Chang. This is an amazing book. I say it every time, and I will probably say it for the rest of the Decan walk. This is an awesome book, and I absolutely love, like, if you are ever needing to brush up on your tarot or reconnect into what it means to you or what these cards represent, this is definitely the way to do it. And like I said, it's taught. I've been reading tarot since I was 14 or 15 years old. I'm gonna say 15. I think it was bought. I think my first deck was given to me on my 15th birthday. I'm almost positive. It was a long time ago, guys. It's hard to remember. There's things that this book has taught me, or different perspectives that this book has given me, that I never even considered. And like I said, tarot has been a huge part of my life for many years. So that just goes to show you that learning tarot, your experience with tarot, your life with tarot is never complete. It is never finished. You do not have it all figured out. There will always be something that the tarot will teach you, something that you didn't even consider or thought about or noticed. So tarot is a lifestyle. It is a long life relationship that is never complete, and it is never figured out, and it is never finished. So just something to always keep in mind. All right, so as usual, I'm going to get in, I'm going to read out of this book, and we're going to hear what she has to say, and then we'll get in and we'll kind of, read the Hermetic Tarot stuff, look at all the different aspects of it, and see where we're at. So she begins the chapter with, alas, something terrible has happened. The Five of Cups, loved by few, shows a mournful figure crying over what is decidedly not spilt milk. For a minor card, it is grim, one of the grimmest there is, which starts to make sense when you look at the two corresponding major arcanas, the Tower and the Death card. The Five of Cups is no party, but at least it's predictable. And then she goes on to talk about it seems somehow inevitable that the Death card should be associated with the sign of Scorpio. But it wasn't inevitable, really. The zodiacal correspondence of the majors weren't laid down until the 19th century, a good 400 years after the first tarot cards begin to appear in Europe. Just to review, here is a list of the correspondence eventually established by the Golden Dawn. And then she gives you an entire little list here of all the different the zodiac signs and then the majors, right? Okay, Scorpio as death not only seems to match up with Scorpio's painted black 8-house goth reputation, it also pairs beautifully with its supremely gloomy 5 of Cups, complete with the cloak of mourning, whose associated Decan just happens to include everybody's favorite Western Hemisphere death festivals. And this I never even thought of or even noticed. Halloween and the Day of the Dead. As the northern sunlight withdraws from the visible landscape, leaving behind bare branches and dry ground, we acknowledge life's cyclical nature for all growing things, and for ourselves as well. The 5 of Cups is an excellent opportunity to face our fear of death in the same way as we do at All Hallowtide, to mourn but also to celebrate, to pour libations out for our own beloved dead while raising a glass to each other. 3 cups spilt, 2 held in reserve for the living. Give the ferryman his due, for loss is the price we pay for love. If death shows us what it is we fear, then the tower shows us why. And then she goes on to talk about times that she's gotten the card. She's received it in 2016 when Clinton lost to Trump. She saw it in 2020, 3 weeks before the election happened again. And then if we skip down and through, remember I like to leave some of this for you guys to read and discover yourself. She talks about how there's a river that runs through both of the 5 of Cups and the Death card. In a sense, this is a metaphor for Scorpio, the sign of fixed water, whose one-way currents we will explore further in Mortal Beauty, the 7 of Cups in Scorpio 3. But it is also a metaphor for the one-way passage that takes us to the sacrificial transaction at the heart of death. It is an irreversible flow. So in a much larger sense, we can say that it is only by knowing love that we can know loss. By facing the 5 of Cups, we learn what matters most in life and to resolve to fight for it. And then she goes to talk about how it can also symbolize an end of an era, and how her husband found a 5 of Cups in the streets just before they got married, and how it was like a completion of that cycle of their life, and they were going to now step into matrimony together, a whole different life, right? And then she goes on to say, I found the 5 of Cups to have an unmistakable somber tone. It comes up when I'm making hospice arrangements for my father and for my uncle's funeral, as well as doing journey work I undertook to see my mom, who died young. I had it on one day. I listened to a podcast about the Holocaust, and when I read a Buddhist memoir about death of the self, she's had it come up on times where her friends' dogs have died, trips have been canceled, and as she previously mentioned, during Trump's winning and then his losing. The 5 of Cups sometimes acts like a mini tower and accompanied breakage and spillages. One morning, I drew it when my daughter was tending to the chickens and she dropped and broke 5 eggs. I got it on the day I cleared out the garden shed of all of its broken pots. So see, it comes across in many, many different ways, not just the obvious, right? So her takeaway is, when you draw the 5 of Cups, you may well be mourning for something. Although no one wants to hear it, when enduring something grievous, loss and love do go hand in hand. It is right there in the tarot's rhythmic, where abundance, the 3 of Cups, plus love, the 2 of Cups, equals disappointment, the 5 of Cups. But that's the solution to it all as well. Suppose you pour the 3 of Cups on the ground yourself as an offering. Disappointment, 5 of Cups, minus abundance, 3 of Cups, then equals love, 2 of Cups. Suppose you face the grief head on, exposing yourself to the fullness of the experience. Suppose even when your heart quakes with the absence, you recognize the reality of past joy. Then, once the river of your tears have passed under the bridge, perhaps it'll be possible to turn back to the living and raise a glass to what's to come. And then, as usual, she closes out with a poem. So many different concepts, right? In different ways. I never even noticed that this card falls in the decan of Halloween and the Day of the Dead, which is crazy. And then when we look at this river, we see the river. I'll bring the card up close so we can all see, other than I'm sure everybody has these cards. We have that river and that bridge happening, right? And then in the death card, if I can get it to focus. Come on. There we go. You have the river happening back here, and it's very turbulent. And you have this boat trying to navigate it, right? But the interesting thing, and I'm surprised she didn't mention it, is how we've got these two towers in the back with the sun rising between them, which has a similar looking building, more of like in ruins. Hold on, let me get this to focus. More in like ruins form right here. So to me, this looks like it's kind of seen better days. And then we also have that same building shape and structure happening in the tower. So that's really quite interesting how we have all those same similar. And to me, it's like these towers look good and in good shape, but in this card, it's like the stuff already went down, shit has already happened, and we have kind of the ruins of what's left of these structures that they all look very similar, right? I don't know, that's just something I picked up on. But it's a very interesting concept. Like I said, I'm not looking forward to this. I don't think anybody is, but we have to go through it. And we will, hopefully it's not anything crazy and too insane. But let's get in and start reading about these different cards and the different elements that go with them. I will start up here. So let's bring in this. Let's read about Scorpio. Let's start with that sign. All right, so Scorpio. From the scorpion to the eagle, Scorpio transforms. The phoenix is yet another form of this deep sign, a mythical bird that rises from its own ashes. Magnetic, mysterious, and magical, this sorceress will lead you through death and rebirth. Beautiful. All right. And we know the fixed signs, right? Because that's like mid-season. It's very much, I'll reread it. Let's reread it. But I think we'll get a good understanding of what the fixed, the cardinal, and the mutable signs all mean now. All right, so fixed. Fixed signs mark the middle of each season. Taurus is the full blossoming spring. Leo is the height of the summer. Scorpio, the turning of the autumn leaves. And Aquarius, the cold of winter. This gives these signs endurance, perseverance, and dedication. So that once again, that's our fixed. That's what we're in that mid season, feeling all of the full effects of whatever season we're in. And then let's look at the element of water. So our water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Water is the emotional and intuitive side of life. It governs the realm of feelings and sensitivity. It flows with a poetic sensibility. Empathy and compassion are its qualities. Due to its receptivity, it is introspective, reflective, and gentle. I don't know. It's weird to me because I feel like Scorpio, I don't know. I feel like water doesn't suit it. And we've got all these cups happening over here. We got the water element here, but I feel like there's so much, I don't know, it still feels fiery to me. I don't know why, but all right, let's look at Mars. Let's read about Mars. We've seen Mars and we've visited Mars in the past, but we'll read about Mars. Mars is the planet of drive and ambition. It is the warrior that seizes the day. Energetic, active, and assertive, this fiery planet gets what it wants. Courage and bravery are its qualities. It is the will to live and survive. Vitality and sexual libido are its territory. All right, there we go. Now let's get into Hermetic Tarot and read about these ones. And I'm going to start with the Tower. The Blasted Tower, Lord of the Hosts of the Mighty. A blasting of light renders total destruction and clears the way for new forms to emerge. An outline of the Tree of Life appears on either side of the tower, black on one side and white on the other, suggesting the wide scope this card may cover. The symbol of Mars appears in the upper left of the card. All right, so I'll bring it up here. My camera's not focusing the greatest day. There we go. There it is. So we've got the Tree of Life in black. We got the Tree of Life in white. We got the Mars sign up here. We have the lightning bolt hitting from the sun rays and the person falling to the ground. All right, the Five of Cups. Lord of Loss and Pleasure. 5 empty cups surround a large inverted pentacle in the center of the card, suggesting loss. At the bottom of the card are fallen water lily petals. Although the lotus stem ascends between the cups in a manner of a fountain, no water flows from any of the cups. Above and below appear the symbols of Mars and Scorpio. This card pertains to the first decan of Scorpio, ruled by Mars. All right, there we go. So here's what the card looks like for anybody that doesn't own the Hermetic Tarot. So there's our 2 signs, 2 zodiac signs down at the bottom and at the top. We have just blackened cups, no water flow. Your pentagram is a pentacle pentagram upside down. And all of the fallen leaves, lotus leaves or petals, sorry, at the bottom. Even though this is a somber card, I think it's kind of beautiful. All right, and then we're going to read about Death, which is a super cool card. Death, child of the great transformers. The sign of Scorpio appears at the upper right. At the upper left is the phoenix rising from smoldering ashes. Death is a skeletal figure with a long scythe, whose metal tips gorges the top of a skull. A serpent rests on the top of another skull at the lower left of the card, while a scorpion crawls through the pile of broken bones. The skeleton alone survives the destruction of time and the aggression of nature, slowly working its way upwards. All right, here's the card. There's a lot happening on this card. But here's the phoenix coming out of the ashes. Here's the Mars sign. Or sorry, Scorpio sign. And then we have the skeleton with the sickle or scythe, whatever you want to call it. We have another scorpion right here. We have snakes on these skulls and all these bones happening down there. It's an intense card. There's a lot happening on it. All right, so that's kind of how this decan is. This is the elements coming in, the different things that's going to be taking place. Once again, over here, we have the Knight of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. So those are kind of our underlying elements and the different personalities or different characters or different people or personalities that'll be coming in during this decan. So those are all things to kind of pay attention to as well. But yeah, so here we go. Here comes the Scorpion One, the Five of Cups. And I really honestly hope that it's not bad. I hope nothing crazy happens. I hope it's as simple as maybe just, you know, something not crazy. I do not need any more chaos and crazy in my life. This year has been freaking insane and like almost unrealistically insane. And like the stuff that has happened has been like stuff that you would read in a book. Like you wouldn't even think that they're possible to even happen in your life. So I really don't want to deal with any more chaos and, you know, people getting hurt, destruction, death, none of that stuff. So I really hope that this is just like Halloween and, Day of the Dead and being like, oh, respect your ancestors and think about them, and let's hope that it's that simple, right? Let's hope. Fingers crossed, right? Anyways, thanks for watching this video. I hope that you are enjoying this deck and walk as much as I do. And I'm wishing everybody the best of luck, and let's get through this decan, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And when that next video is, let's get to our wheel. So this decan is in place from October 23rd to November 2nd. So our next video will be the Six of Cups, and that will be November 3rd. So I'll be seeing you guys for our next video, November 3rd, and then we can see what has happened or hasn't happened, right? We're going to stay positive. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Thanks.